and professor at Georgetown University, is joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Cafiero, thank you very much for making time for us, and welcome to the program. This is a very critical juncture we are in West Asia. It seems, but let's talk to our guest at this hour, who's Giorgio Cafiero. He's the CEO of Gulf State Analytics and professor at Georgetown University, is joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Cafiero, thank you very much for making time for us, and welcome to the program. This is a very critical juncture we are in West Asia. It seems that the conflict or the war has escalated at this moment. Israel says we are at war. The United States, it will help Israel defend itself, and there are consequences for Iran. What are these consequences that the United States could possibly be having?
Thank you so much. Good to be on your network. It's obviously important for us to maybe go back to the event of late July when the Israelis killed the Hamas leader in Tehran, and then also going back a few days to late last month when Israel killed the Secretary General of Hezbollah and other high-ranking officials in the Lebanese group. What we saw from Iran after that was a great deal of restraint, strategic patience, if you will. And I think one of the factors in play was that the new Iranian president wanted to keep open the door to diplomacy with the West. But at this point, I think it's pretty clear that the calculation in Tehran changed. The thinking among the authorities in Iran was that for the Islamic Republic to maintain its quote-unquote deterrence capacity, there had to be some sort of a military action taken against Israel, and we have seen that today. Now, at this point, the key question is how Israel is going to respond to this Iranian attack. We've known for quite a while that the goal of the Netanyahu government is to bring the United States into a direct conflict with Iran. I have serious concerns that because of these latest developments, Netanyahu may very well get what he wants. It's also a time in the U.S. when we're approaching a general election, and that is also a factor that's going to impact how the Biden administration moves forward. And I think the risks of the U.S. and Iran falling into a direct conflict with each other have certainly increased. Not saying that that will be the inevitable outcome, but I am much more concerned about
Turn right onto State Route 47, then turn right to merge onto I-70 West toward Jonesburg.
One of your concerns, Iraq has actually issued a statement and said that actually warning the United States not to get involved in this confrontation between Iran and Israel. How can this situation or this war or this conflict be averted from getting worse? Because I've been talking to the former spokesperson of Israel, Elon Levy, who says that it's pretty hard, it's pretty difficult for the countries in that region to come to a consensus, to come to a conclusion.
Turn left onto State Route 47, then turn right to merge onto I-70 West toward Jonesburg.
So how can it be resolved?
Turn left onto State Route 47, then turn right to merge onto I-70 West toward Jonesburg.
Concerns about how they could become collateral in some sort of wider conflict that engulfs the Middle East at large. Iraq, being a neighbor of Iran that has very deep ties to Iran, but also has a close relationship with the United States, has been under a lot of pressure for many years as tension between Washington and Tehran intensifies. So right now, these countries, such as Iraq, GCC countries, want to see a ceasefire in Gaza, and they want to see a ceasefire along the Israeli-Lebanese front as well. But as long as the United States is going to continue providing Israel with unconditional support, giving all of these arms to Israel, complete diplomatic support at the UN to prevent Israel from ever being held accountable for its criminal behavior, I don't think the Netanyahu government is going to have any incentive to pull back from its movement toward further and further escalation. And I think unless the United States is going to use its leverage and pressure Israel into changing its conduct, there's not really much that the countries in the region can do to bring greater stability to the Middle East. This really, like I said, it really comes down to the U.S. policy of giving unconditional support to Israel.
Let's talk more about that because, Mr. Cafiero, we had members of the UK Parliament really saying that on one end you're talking about a ceasefire and on the other you're still arming Israel. So that cannot work. If while leaders are continuously calling for a ceasefire, we also had the United Nations General Assembly, the United Nations